I've been asked to share a little bit about myself, my journey, the evolution of the center. First, I need to tell you that I'm a regular guy. I'm an average Joe. I was on a journey to self-destruction when God rescued me and began directing my steps. Those steps led me to a leader who prided himself on launching people into ministry. He let me preach to over 1,000 people every third Sunday before I actually headed to Northern Seminary. My 3 years at Northern set the seeds for what I'm currently doing now. I am a missional practitioner. On September 11th, 2011, we launched an attractional church in the middle of a cornfield with 323 of my closest friends. 4 years later, I'd leave disenchanted with the Western model of church and in search of people and a place to do mission. In the middle of volunteering at the food pantry, working at the local mission, substitute teaching to alternative high school students, that is the ones with the ankle bracelets, the idea of Renew would be born. A missional expression, dinner church, where none, done, and undone could discover or rediscover the love of Christ in community. Now, let me just explain. None means someone with no faith. Done means someone who's done with Christianity as we're doing it currently in the Western culture. And undone are those people who are undone by life. Renew was targeted towards those individuals. Renew would grow and evolve over time. I'd write a book and then another, hoping other clergy and non-clergy really would recognize they could do what I did and get active. Again, I'm just a regular guy. I wondered why more didn't do it. I encouraged people. I gave permission. I gave away anything to anyone who inquired. I was content with my role when God stepped in. And an old friend at the Methodist Church, Martin Lee, gave me a call, and he said those words that sometimes get confused. He said, we've got a few buildings that need pastors. You'd be perfect. We've got a great opportunity for you. Yeah, I said no a couple of times until they offered an opportunity to do the unique missional idea that we're doing right now. A unique missional idea in a traditional church with a single caveat, that we would launch a self-sufficient community of faith within 3 years. That was the only caveat. No constraints, just one goal: bring Jesus to the community in a unique way that becomes self-sustaining. And the center would be born. It was a simple vision, connecting everyone every day in every way to Jesus. People and Jesus are our guiding principle. The building would never dictate the ministry we do. Ministry in and to the community would be our primary motive. Success would be determined through people connected, committed, and supported in the places where they live, work, and play as domestic missionaries. In our view, everyone should play. No one should sit on the bench. With that in mind, we began the task of collecting and connecting to those like-minded individuals in the community and looking for the greatest needs of where we could serve. At the same time we were doing all that, we also began physically revamping the center's building. We had to get rid of a few years of clutter. Our first connections began with contractors and then those curious about the center and what was going to happen. Eventually, we'd meet our first 5 couples who'd become committed to reaching the community in unique ways. The 5 couples resulted in 4 ministries, as we like to call them, Coracles. A coracle is a small round fishing boat used in the 15th century to re-evangelize Europe by the church. A coracle would be used when a monk was ready to start a new community of faith. The monk would be loaded into a small boat with some basic supplies and then pushed out from the shore. The expectation was wherever they landed, they were expected to start a new community of faith based on the needs of that community where they landed. Now for us, that's a perfect metaphor for what the center is. You see, the center's first 4 coracles began with 2 adoptions. The first one was a Christian martial arts program that was kicked out of its current church because the children showing up there never did show up to Sunday worship. You talk about that bait and switch strategy, it doesn't work. The second was a Christian breakdance ministry that had locations all over the country, 2 here in Chicago in specific. It was a short-lived ministry for us because we're in a middle-class white neighborhood and breakdancing isn't as popular as I thought it would be. And so while the ministry failed, we learned a lot about our community in those days. The center would then launch a Christian trauma recovery with yoga and meditation and a STEM lab or a STEAM lab, science, technology, electronics, art, and math. Pretty powerful ministry, but it lasted only 1 season. There were other short-term Coracles that would come and go. There was the homeless dinners in conjunction with the PADS program. There was the men's integrity breakfast. There was the parent-taught open motor play. COVID did that in. There was the after-school care and the open mic nights, best karaoke you ever heard. And even a Homeschool Network came here for a number of years, actually. Not just 1 season, but a number. And is looking to the future now. Our current Coracles are mending nets. That's the trauma and meditation, so it existed since the beginning. We started a Sundays at 11 worship time where we invite our Coracles, our ministries leaders, to come and worship together. Then, of course, there are weddings at the center, and that would move into events at the center when we revitalized our venue room. Then we connected with Impact for Jesus, an organization that's been around a while that helps out those who are trying to get into college through the use of soccer. And that started overseas in Haiti, which continues today. We partner with a number of organizations in Haiti, but primarily today for clean water. And then we launched Renew, the Dinner Church. As you heard me say earlier, I wrote the book and wrote a second book, and it was a powerful time. Well, Renew moved from a single location down in Montgomery, Illinois, up here to Itasca as well. We were running 2 locations for a while and then slowed it down, moved to a single location up here. It's a community meal dinner church where we connect with the community. It's been a powerful, powerful lesson in connections. And on Global Hope Partners, that's a South Asian ministry led by Peter Pereira. He's planted some 5,000 house churches, and his ability to teach and preach have been great for us here at the center. And he's been very helpful in helping us look to the future. You see, we're always about wanting to expand the kingdom. And locally here, we've got 5 Hindu temples within 1.5 miles of us. So Peter and I have been brainstorming and now working with others to try to reach that population. We then added Living Truth Church. They're an interesting group of men and women who pave, put the black asphalt down during the summers, and in the winters they go down to Florida, but they are all Christian. And they needed a place to worship, and we welcomed them with open arms, and we've done ministry with them now for 3 years. It's been powerful for us. That kind of leads us into Forge Chicago and why we did Forge Chicago Consulting, because Forge Chicago for us is just an offshoot. If you don't know this, missional living is sometimes lonely. And it's helpful to have others who want to live their lives as domestic missionaries and who are willing to listen and who want you to tell them what works and what doesn't work. And so we've been really good at coaching others. It's been a primary focus of both Peter and I for some time. Then we added on Positive Intentions, a recovery ministry, which has a house over in Bensenville. The relationship there has been fantastic as we continue our recovery programs here. That connection actually has grown to the point where we took our parsonage and we converted it to a place where men who are coming out of a recovery facility need a place to stay, get on their feet. And so we have 4 men living in our parsonage right now who are becoming productive members of society. And then you move to Food for the Soul. Food pantry and food distribution started on a driveway and now feeds 115 families a week. Powerful to think about how God moves when you get good leaders. That was one. The leader will tell you, I never thought I'd be doing food distribution, but there's nothing better than sharing spiritual food with those who need physical food. We added another partner called Heartland Church. They were a small church growing out of a house, moving to a school. COVID hit. They needed a place to worship, and they ended up with us over in our Wooddale campus and have been great partners ever since. Fantastic ministry is being done by them, and we are grateful to partner with them. We then added Smart Recovery and Christian Recovery and AA and SA here to the center, and all of these are helping people because everybody is in need of recovery. I don't care who you are. Everyone is recovering from something or knows somebody who is in recovery, and so they need support. We then added MJL Ballet, a high-end ballet school that trains the best of the best young ladies and has won awards in the first few years of existence. Another incredible ministry that continues today. And we hope to continue to sponsor because God creates. And so MJL Ballet and its artistic leader are very helpful to us as we look to what God is doing in the world around us. Then you add on a homeschool network that meets here on Mondays and has met here for the last 4 years. Add on the Center Cup, our coffee Coracle, where we decided we wanted to try to reach the community. More people come to our coffee Coracle on a daily basis and provide just community. We call it pouring unity into the community because all the drinks are free. Nothing is more special than watching someone say, "What do you mean free?" And we get to say, "Yes, it's free like grace." And start spiritual conversations over a cup of coffee, or political conversations, or religious conversations, or just community conversations. It's been a wonderful addition. And our most recent addition is a Hispanic house church that has grown from a few in a living room with some great musicians. They moved into our Wooddale facility not too long ago now and have been sharing their unique, culturally significant ministry with the folks in Wooddale and beyond. The center has become a collective of smaller groups or Coracles who are connected by a central leadership who passionately support those fully committed to the mission of reaching others for Jesus. Think missionaries. And if you're willing and passionate to seek and redeem those in your sphere of influence, your life, then come join us as we strive to reach more with the incredible, life-saving news that comes from Jesus.